Of you have been having problems with the appropriate domain for real world functions questions, so I'm just going to go through one with you. A college has a financial aid formula that applies to applicants whose family's income is below a certain threshold. The financial aid can be determined by the function f of x equals 25,000 plus 4,000x, where x is the number of siblings that the applicant has living in their household. Find and interpret the given function values and determine the appropriate domain for the function. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is find f of negative 4. Okay, so I'm just going to define that function in my calculator. So I'm going to say f of x equals 25,000 plus 4,000x. Or you could just plug in negative 4 for x. What if you don't have the TI Nspire calculator at home? So when you do that, you should get 9,000. Okay, so f of negative 4 equals 9,000, meaning the qualified applicant with negative 4 siblings in their household would get $9,000 in financial aid. This interpretation does not make sense. Why does it not make sense? Because you can't have negative number of siblings. So that's going to be important to know when we go answer the appropriate domain part. Then it says f of 2. So now I'm going to plug 2 in. And I get 33,000. Meaning the qualified applicant with 2 siblings in their household would get $33,000 in financial aid. This makes sense. Then f of 1.5. So we're going to plug 1.5 in. And I get 31,000. Meaning the qualified applicant with 1.5 siblings in their household would get $31,000 in financial aid. This does not make sense. Why does this not make sense? Because you can't have 1.5 siblings. Okay, so anything that wouldn't make sense would be something that you can't have in your domain, can't have negative number of siblings, or sometimes if the value in the range doesn't make sense. But all of these numbers in the range makes sense: 9,000, 33,000, 31,000. Okay, so based on the observation above, it's clear that an appropriate domain for the function is, now your domain, we're looking at our inputs. We can't have negative numbers. We cannot have decimals for this story. Okay, but we can have whole numbers. So let's see where our choices are. All real numbers, I can't choose that because that would include positive and negative numbers. It would also include decimal values. Non-negative real numbers, that would include decimal values, so that's not my choice. Real numbers where x is between a and b. What does it say a and b is? I don't know what that means. All right. Integers, that's positive and negative whole numbers. It can't be that. Whole numbers, okay, it could be whole numbers, 0, 1, 2. It could be positive integers. And then integers between a and b. Again, I don't know what a and b are, so I'm not choosing that. So right now I'm between whole numbers and positive integers. Okay? So the only difference between whole numbers and positive integers is that number 0 is one of the whole numbers. So let's see, would it make sense if I plug 0 in? Well, 0 siblings. You can have 0 siblings. Okay? So that would make sense. So that's why I'm going to choose whole numbers for my domain. Submit my answer. Yes, this is what I want to submit. And it's right. I hope this helps you to complete the questions. Have a very happy Thanksgiving.